Hey everyone, it's Trish with Dale Realty Group. Welcome back. We just pulled the latest numbers for the Triangle luxury market, and this is going to be our last market update for 2025, believe it or not. And as always, I'm going to be going over the markets of Raleigh, Holly Springs, Cary, and Apex. And like I do in every video, I'm going to be comparing last year's numbers to this year's numbers and see where changes have occurred. Today I'm back in the car and I'm actually on Highway 40. I'm heading to Wilmington, which is about a 2-hour drive from the Raleigh area. And we're going to check out the area, get some filming done, because I'm going to be doing a future video, so keep an eye out for it. Raleigh versus Wilmington and the differences on what it's like to live in both places. And the reason I'm doing that is because I see a lot of people that are thinking about relocating to North Carolina, and they're trying to decide, do we go to the coast or do we go to Raleigh, the capital? And that's a decision I had made several years ago when I decided to move here from Florida. Growing up by the beach, I thought I wanted to be closer to the beach. And I'm going to go over what ultimately made us make the move to Raleigh. Okay, let's get started with looking at those numbers, again, over the $750,000 price range. Starting with Raleigh, where the median home price sale last year in November was $1,120,000. This year, that number landed at $1,093,000, so only about a 2.5% over last year. And then when we look at active inventory, which is a key indicator of what's happening in the market, we went from 333 homes on the market last year to 327 this year, active inventory. So basically the same. And then when we look at closed sales, we went from 97 closings in 2024 to 103 this year. Still very close year-over-year numbers. And then finally, when we look at days on the market, so the number of days on average that these homes are staying on the market, this year it was 23 days on market, which is a full week longer than last year. So not a big change in that number. Buyers are taking a little bit longer. But again, when we look at the numbers, always in November, December, they tend to be a little longer just because less people are out looking for homes at this time. Next, let's take a look at what's happening in the luxury market in Cary, where the median home price in 2024 was $940,000. This year, it's coming in at $885,000. So that is a decrease of about 8%. Active inventory last year was 57 homes. This year, 100 homes. So that's a 75% increase. So that we are starting to see more homes on the market in Cary in the luxury market. And then when we take a look at closed sales, we went from 42 closed sales to 27, and that's a 35% decrease. So less homes selling in Cary last month. And then finally, days on the market in 2024 was 9 days. This year was 14 days. Even though that was a 64% increase, the bottom line is that it's still relatively low for days on the market. And then when we just look at Cary overall, even though inventory has gone up a little bit and demand has cooled, it's still one of the most sought after luxury markets in the area. So moving on to Holly Springs, where the median home price in 2024 was $837,000, and that just ticked up a little bit over 2025. 1.4%. But what we're really seeing the difference is last year, days on market for Holly Springs was 25 days. This year, it went down to 2 days, and that is just for last month. So again, we always caution, we have to look at those year numbers and also monthly numbers because things do change depending on what houses are on the market. And then when we look at closed sales, we went from 19 closed sales to 24 closed sales this past year. So that's a 26% increase. So it's starting to signal that buyers are starting to come back out. Things are getting better than they were last year. And then finally, let's take a look at what's happening in Apex in the luxury market, where 2024 had a median home price of $894,000. This year dropped very slightly to $860,000, about a 4% decrease over last year. So nothing significant happening in Apex when we look at that median home price. However, when we look at closed sales, this is where we see quite a bit of a difference. In 2024, we had 19 closed sales in the month. This year, we had 40 sales. So that's a 110% increase. So we had a lot of buyers out there in Apex in November buying properties. Active inventory was also slightly up in Apex last month. month, year over year. We had 50 homes on the market last year. This year we had 84 houses on the market in Apex. And then finally, looking at days on the market, in 2024, days on the market in Apex was 6 days. This year it was 24 days. So bottom line, prices came down a little bit in Apex. Buyers took longer to decide. Those days on the market increased and demand doubled. So again, Apex has always been a very strong area for sales. It continues to be a strong market. So what does this all mean for buyers and sellers? Well, a lot of the information that I went over repeats what I had said a couple of months ago. The market is still very strong here in the Triangle area, especially when we look at that luxury market segment, the homes $750,000 and above. You have more choices because the inventory has increased, and you also have longer time to make a decision because days on the market is longer. However, if you see a house that you love, you do need to make a move on it because some of the homes, especially the ones that are priced great and are in great shape, sell fast. And then if you're a seller, you really have to do your homework and prep your home and get it ready for market because no longer are the days where we list it and we watch the offers come rolling in. We really need to make sure that we are strategizing and getting your house market ready, such as pricing, staging, painting, doing any of those house repairs that you've put off for years, but now it's time to get those done. So let's break it down like I do for every market update. What does this mean for buyers and sellers? Buyers, you have more choices in Cary, Apex, and Holly Springs. Even though houses are still selling relatively fast, you have more inventory to choose from. Raleigh also remains very steady and competitive. And sellers, you're still going to win in this market, but you have to price correctly and you have to have a strategy. Days on the market are increasing, so you need to make sure that you are putting your house in a position to sell. So if you're ready to make a move and want a clear plan how to make that happen, reach out today. You can call or text me. My contact information is on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future videos on luxury living in the Triangle. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.